Hi guys, ang i-discuss natin ngayon ay typical account titles pa rin but liabilities naman. So dun sa last video kasi ang na-discuss natin ay assets. So ngayon, liabilities. So pag sinabi nating liabilities, 'di ba, obligation of the entity or ito yung utang. So sabi natin pagdating sa liabilities, ang tatandaan ninyo lahat ng may payable sa account title ay liability. Okay, so but may dalawa kayong tatandaan na walang payable sa account title but included as liabilities. Ano yun? Accrued expenses and unearned revenues. Accrued expenses or accrued liabilities and unearned revenues. So walang payable sa account title but included as liabilities. Tulad sa assets, ang liabilities, pwede natin i-classify sa dalawa, current liabilities and non-current liabilities. So dito ang pinag-uusapan natin ay yung settlement. Kapag within 1 year or normal operating cycle, so ang settlement, ang classification niya ay current liability. So pag beyond na, so ito ay ika-classify mo as non-current liability. Iisa-isahin natin ulit yung pag-discuss ng mga account titles. So, unahin muna natin yung nasa CL, accounts payable, notes payable, accrued expenses, unearned revenues, and current portion of long-term debt. Then sa NCL naman, mortgage payable and bonds payable. But dito sa financial accounting and reporting, ang ma-encounter nyo lang ay itong apat. Accounts payable, notes payable, accrued expenses, and unearned revenues. Unahin nating i-discuss sa CL or current liabilities yung accounts payable and notes payable. So yung payable, kabaliktaran lang ng receivables, 'di ba? So na-discuss natin dun sa asset. So pag sinabi nating accounts payable, represents the reverse relationship of the accounts receivable. By accepting the goods or services the buyer agrees to pay for them in the near future. While notes payable is like a notes receivable but in a reverse sense. In the case of a note payable, the business entity is the maker of the note. That is, the business entity is the party who promises to pay the other party a specified amount of money on a specified future date. So, di ba, ang sinabi ko sa inyo, ang tandaan nyo, kapag merong on account or kaya on credit, dalawa lang ang pagpipilian ninyo, receivable or payable. Receivable kapag ikaw si seller, payable kapag ikaw si buyer. So kapag ikaw si buyer at nakita mo on credit or on account, merong on account doon sa transaction, so ibig sabihin, ang ire-record mo ay payable. So anong difference ng accounts payable sa notes payable? Ang notes payable, nag-issue ka ng promissory note. Tayo yung maker ng promissory note. So kapag nag-issue tayo ng promissory note, so ang ire-record natin ay notes payable. But kung wala, hindi sinabi, silent, nakalagay lang on account or kaya on credit, so ang ire-record natin ay accounts payable. Dito maraming nalilito talaga pagdating sa receivable and sa payable. 'Di ba? Ang tatandaan ninyo kapag on account or on credit, dalawa lang ang pagpipilian, receivable and payable. Bukod doon, meron pa kayo isang tatandaan. Kapag meron kayo nakita na billed or bill, so dalawa lang din yung pagpipilian ninyo. Okay, so pag nakita niyo yung billed or kaya bill, dalawa lang ang pagpipilian ninyo, receivable or payable. So paano nating malalaman na ang ire-record natin ay receivable? Kapag ikaw yung issuer, so ikaw yung nag-issue ng bill. Okay, so ang ire-record mo ay receivable. Kapag payable naman, kapag ikaw naman yung receiver, ikaw naman yung naka-receive ng bill, so, ire-record mo naman ay payable. Okay? So, dito, tandaan nyo lang, di ba, kunyari, yung bill ng kuryente natin sa bahay. So, kapag ikaw ang naka-receive ng bill, ibig sabihin, ikaw yung may babayaran. So, kaya ire-record mo yon as payable. O, wag malilito ha, receiver, baka mami akala receivable. Okay, receiver ng bill, ikaw yung naka-receive ng bill, so ibig sabihin, ikaw yung may babayaran, kaya ire-record mo siya as payable. So kapag naman ikaw yung nag-issue ng bill, sa yun ikaw naman yung nagbigay, sa'yo naman galing yung bill. So, ang ire-record mo naman ay receivable. So, sa point of view naman ni Penelco, siya yung nag-issue ng bill, sa kanya galing yung bill. So, ibig sabihin siya naman yung may marireceive. Kaya ire-record niya naman as receivable. Okay? So, kapag dating sa kung payable yan, accounts payable or notes payable, kung receivable, accounts receivable, and notes receivable, ano lang tatandaan nila? Pag may na-receive na notes, so, notes receivable. Okay? Kung meron na ikaw yung maker ng notes, ikaw yung maker ng promissory notes, so, i-record mo ay notes payable. Kung wala, silent lang, so, accounts payable or accounts receivable. Okay? So, ito, naglagay ako ng example, so, para makita ninyo kung kailan i-record yung receivable or payable. So, yung unang example ko dyan, receive a bill for gas and oil from Petron, 10,000. Okay, so ano sabi, nakakita kayo ng bill. Sabi natin, dalawa lang ang pagpipilian, receivable or payable lang. So, kapag ikaw ang nag-issue ng bill, receivable. Pag ikaw ang naka-receive ng bill, payable. So, ano sabi dyan? Receive a bill. So, tayo yung, sa point of view ni entity, tayo yung naka-receive ng bill. So, anong i-record natin? Payable. Nag-issue ba tayo ng promissory notes? Wala. So, ibig sabihin, ito i-record natin siya as accounts payable. Okay? Kaya, yan, accounts payable. Okay, so yung pangalawa naman na transaction, bill the customer for services rendered, 30,000. So, build the customer o build. So, dalawa lang pagpipilian, receivable or payable. Kapag ikaw ang nag-issue, receivable. Kapag ikaw ang naka-receive, payable. Okay, so dito, sino ang naka-receive ng bill? Yung customer. So, ibig sabihin tayo yung nag-issue. Diba? Build the customer for services rendered 30,000. So, ano yan? Receivable or payable? So, tayo yung nag-bill, binil natin yung customer, so ibig sabihin tayong issuer. So, ire-record mo yan as receivable. Okay? So, nag-issue ba ng notes yung customer? Hindi. So, ibig sabihin, ire-record natin yan as accounts receivable. Nako ha? So, kasi dito, accounts receivable, tingnan mo, bill the customer for services rendered. Bakit binil mo yung customer? Kasi nag-render ka ng service. Papayag ka ba na ikaw na yung nag-render na service, sasabihin mo pa meron akong accounts payable sa'yo? So, ibig sabihin, ikaw pa magbabayad. So, hindi, di ba? So, ikaw ang nag-bill sa customer kasi nag-render ka ng service. So, ibig sabihin, ang ire-record natin ay receivable. Okay, so ikaw yung nag-issue nung bill. So, ang ire-record natin ay accounts receivable. Kaya, ito, ire-record natin siya as accounts receivable. So, ganyan lang naman. Hindi naman siya magiging mahirap kung tatandaan nyo yung mga dapat natin na tandaan. So, pag ikaw yung nag-issue ng bill, i-record as receivable. Kapag ikaw ang naka-receive ng bill, ibig sabihin ikaw yung may babayaran, so i-record as payable. Meron din kayong makikita na transaction, nakalagay naman, receive and paid the bill. So, naka-receive ka, pero binayaran mo din yung bill na yon. So, pag ganun, hindi mo na idadaan sa accounts payable. O yung iba ang ginagawa, ay ma'am, ire-record ko as accounts payable. Tapos after nun, babayaran ko din ng cash. So, hindi na. Kapag naka-receive ka ng bill and at the same time, binayaran mo na, hindi mo na kailangang idaan sa accounts payable. But diretso na agad sa cash. Okay, so ano na agad siya, deduction na agad siya sa cash, hindi mo na idadaan sa accounts payable. Kasi pag dinaan mo pa sa accounts payable, dadagdagan mo yung accounts payable, tas babayaran mo siya, babawasan mo yung accounts payable, at babawasan mo din yung cash. So ano mangyayari? Nadagdagan yung accounts payable, tas nabawasan din yung accounts payable. In effect, wala naman talaga ng accounts payable. Nako ha? So kaya ano na lang, diretso na lang yon as deduction sa cash. Kasi receive and paid. Na-receive mo yung bill, tas binayaran mo na din. Okay? So kaya iyon, ang ire-record ay deduction sa cash. Hindi nyo na idadaan sa accounts payable. So, yan lang yung kailangan yung tandaan pagdating sa payable. Accounts payable, notes payable, and dun sa accounts receivable and notes receivable. So, okay na tayo sa accounts payable and notes payable. So, yung sunod naman nating i-discuss ay accrued expenses or accrued liabilities. Next, accrued expenses. So, pag sinabi natin accrued expenses, amounts owed to the others for unpaid expenses. So, ito yung sabi ko kabaliktaran ng prepaid expense. Kasi ang prepaid expense, nabayaran mo na pero hindi mo pa nagagamit. Ito, accrued expenses, nagamit mo na pero hindi mo pa nababayaran. Itong accrued expense ay madidiscuss natin sa adjusting entries. Okay, usually kasi, class, kapag nagre-record tayo ng expense kung kailan ka nagbayad, 'di ba? But kung hindi ka nagbayad, so ang nangyayari, hindi ka nakakapag-record ng expense. So kaya nagkakaroon ng accrued expense. So kailangan mo kasing i-recognize na meron kang expense and liability para mag-reflect yung correct amount dun sa financial position natin or sa financial statements natin. So, ano yung mga accounts na included dito? Ito yung mga expenses na nagamit na natin pero hindi pa natin nababayaran or already incurred but not yet paid. Let's say meron kang salaries dun sa mga empleyado mo na hindi mo pa nabayaran pero naka-render na sila na service sa atin. So, ang ire-record mo dun ay accrued expense yun, ang tawag doon ay salaries payable. So, basta hindi natin nabayaran but nagamit na natin, so ang tawag ay accrued expense. So, pwede rin namang mga interest, so interest payable or kaya taxes payable. So, basta nagamit na natin but hindi pa natin siya nababayaran. Ang tawag doon ay accrued expense. Next naman ay unearned revenues. Ito dito maraming nagkakamali dito. So nakakalimutan. Pag sinabi nating unearned revenues, so unearned, ibig sabihin hindi pa na-earn yung revenue. Kailan ba natin ma-earn yung revenue? Once na nag-render ka ng service or nag-deliver ka ng goods. So, ibig sabihin, ito, pag unearned revenue, hindi pa tayo nakaka-deliver ng goods or hindi pa tayo nakaka-render ng service. But, naka-receive ka na agad ng payment dun sa customer mo. So, ibig sabihin, meron kang utang ngayon sa customer. So, ang tawag dun ay unearned revenue. So, ito yung dalawang account titles na walang payable sa account title pero included sila as a liability. So, when the business entity receives payment before providing its customers with goods or services, the amounts received are recorded in the unearned revenue account. So, since naka-receive ka agad ng payment kay customer pero hindi ka pa nagre-render ng service or hindi ka pa naka-deliver ng goods, so ibig sabihin ang i-record natin doon ay unearned revenue, meron tayong liability doon sa customer. So, nakalagay dito liability method kasi may dalawang method para mag-record ng unearned revenue. So, yung advance payment. Merong liability method and revenue method. But, makikita nyo yun or madidiscuss din natin yun pagdating sa adjusting entries na natin. Ito naman yung example ng unearned revenue. So, the entity received 120,000 as advance payment from customer for services to be rendered next year. So, anong nangyari? Naka-receive daw yung entity ng 120,000 as advance payment. So, kailan mo i-renderan ng service yung customer? Next year pa. So, ibig sabihin, nakakolekta ka agad ng 120,000 pero hindi ka pa nagre-render ng service. Kailan ka pa magre-render ng service? Next year. So, yung 120,000 na yon, ang tawag doon, ang i-record natin doon ay unearned revenue. So, kasi naka-receive ka agad ng cash pero hindi ka pa nagre-render ng service. Okay? So, ang tawag doon ay unearned revenue. Chinekan ko na yung dalawa, accrued expenses and unearned revenues. So guys, kapag meron kayong question or medyo malabo sa discussion, so comment lang kayo or kaya PM nyo lang ako sa Facebook or kaya dun sa GC natin if ever na merong hindi maintindihan. Okay, so sa mga hindi pa nagsasubscribe dyan, kung napadaan kayo dito sa video na to, subscribe na kayo and like nyo naman yung video. Okay, thank you. So yung apat na yan, ito lang yung ma-encounter natin sa financial accounting and reporting. But i-discuss ko rin tong current portion of long-term debt and mortgage payable and bonds payable. Although wala pa kayong ma-encounter na ganyan dito sa financial accounting and reporting. So yung susunod, current portion of long-term debt. Ito naman yung current portion of long-term debt. So these are portions of mortgage notes, bonds, and other long-term indebtedness which are to be paid within 1 year from the balance sheet date. Okay, so di ba kung naalala ninyo dun sa elements ng financial statements, sa liabilities na discuss natin yung CL tsaka NCL. So di ba pag CL, kapag ang settlement ay ang settlement ay within 1 year, so classified siya as CL basta after the balance sheet date. Kapag beyond na dun sa 1 year after the balance sheet date, ang classification niya na ay NCL. So, yung current portion of long-term debt, ito, long-term debt siya. Liability siya for more than 1 year yung settlement. But since meron siyang current portion, so doon natin inire-record or doon natin ire-reflect as current liability. Okay, so medyo magulo. Bigyan natin ng example. Okay, ito lang yun sa CL tsaka NCL. Let's say, ang balance sheet date natin is December 31, 2021. So, ibig sabihin, let's say, yung financial statements natin, ang gagawin natin o ipe-prepare natin na financial statements, yung period niya ay from January 1, 2021 to December 31, 2021. Yun yung coverage niya. So, yung balance sheet date natin ay December 31, 2021. Let's say, nagkaroon ka ng liability. Okay, so babayaran mo siya ng December 31, 2022. Okay, so from December 31, 2021, balance sheet date natin, so ise-settle natin ng December 31, 2022. So yung liability na yun, let's say 100,000, ika-classify mo siya as current liability. Okay, bakit current liability? Kasi kapag babayaran siya within 1 year from balance sheet date, ang classification niya ay current liability. So, anong titingnan niyo dyan? Yung balance sheet date, dapat within 1 year after the balance sheet date, so ise-settle para ma-classify siya as CL. Let's say, yung liability mo ise-settle mo June 30, 2022. So, di ba pasok pa rin dito? Kasi isang taon pa to after, hanggang December 31, 2022. So, pasok pa siya sa isang taon. So, kaya, ang classification niya ay current liability. So, basta ang settlement hanggang December 31, 2022, so pasok dyan, so para ma-classify as current liability. Dahil, sabi natin, CL siya kapag ang settlement ay within 1 year after balance sheet date. Okay? So, but kung ang liability ay babayaran mo, ise-settle mo, January 1, 2023 onwards. So, ang classification niya na ay non-current liability. Bakit? Kasi di ba sabi natin, para CL, basta within 1 year after balance sheet date. Ito, more than 1 year na from balance sheet date. So, let's say yung 100,000, babayaran natin ng June 1, 2023. So, balance sheet date is December 31, 2021. So, babayaran natin June 1, 2023. So, hindi na siya CL. But, ano siya? NCL. So, mula January 1 hanggang pataas, hanggang sa susunod, so, ang classification niya ay NCL. Okay, so ganun yung pag-classify kung current liability or non-current liability. So, ang tandaan ay yung balance sheet date. After balance sheet date, within 1 year after balance sheet date, ang classification niya ay CL. So, pag beyond na doon, NCL. So, ito makikita nyo din na detalya na nadidiscussing nyo pagdating sa intermediate accounting. So, but i-discuss ko pa rin para at least meron lang kayong idea. Ito yung example. Okay? Ng ito, yung para maintindihan ano yung current portion of long-term debt. Okay, let's say ang balance sheet date pa rin natin ay December 31, 2021. Meron daw tayong liability of 5 million to be paid on December 31, 2026. So, kailan daw siya babayaran? December 31, 2026. So, December 31, 2021, yung balance sheet date natin. So, itong 5 million, babayaran natin December 31, 2026 pa. So, ibig sabihin, ano na, beyond na dun sa 1 year, 'di ba? After balance sheet date. So, sobra na dun. So, ibig sabihin, itong 5 million na to, hindi mo siya pwede i-classify as current liability, but non-current liability. Bakit? Kasi hindi naman siya pumasok dito sa within 1 year after balance sheet date. Okay, so kaya itong 5 million na to as of December 31, 2021, pagdating sa financial position sa balance sheet, so itong 5 million, i-reflect yan as non-current liability. Yung buong 5 million. Kanina, yung example natin na 5 million, babayaran natin ng December 31, 2026, diba? Isang biglaan. So, ang tawag doon lump sum. Okay? So, what if ngayon, yung 5 million na yun, babayaran natin installment. Okay? So, installment for 5 years. So, let's say yung 5 million, 1 million dyan, babayaran natin on December 31, 2022. Another 1 million sa 2023. 1 million sa 2024. So, 2025, another 1 million. And sa 2026, 1 million. So, installment yung payment natin. Okay? So, kanina, dun sa lump sum, as of December 31, 2021, yung 5 million na yon, ika-classify mo siya as non-current liability. Bakit? Kasi, di ba, beyond na dun sa 1 year after the balance sheet date. But ito, tingnan natin, yung 5 million in installment natin. So, kailan ka unang magbabayad? December 31, 2022. Anong requirement natin para ma-classify siya as CL? Kapag daw isesettle mo within 1 year after balance sheet date. O, yung balance sheet date natin, December 31, 2021. So, para ma-classify natin siya as CL, dapat babayaran siya hanggang December 31, 2022 kasi within 1 year after balance sheet date. Ito, tung unang 1 million na babayaran natin, kailan natin babayaran? December 31, 2022. So, ibig sabihin, ano siya? Pasok siya as current liability. So, yan yung tinatawag natin na current portion of long-term debt or long-term liability. Long-term siya, pero since nag-fall siya within 1 year after balance sheet date, ito, ika-classify mo siya as current liability. But yung susunod, 2023 na. Ang balance sheet date ay December 31, 2021. So, beyond na dun sa 2022. So, ibig sabihin, itong 1 million, ika-classify mo siya as non-current liability. So, itong susunod non-current liability, yung susunod non-current liability, and yung susunod din non-current liability. So, pagdating sa December 31, 2021, paano natin i-report yung 5 million na liability? So, 1 million as current liability and 4 million as non-current liability. So, itong 1 million na to, yun yung tinatawag natin na current portion of long-term debt. So, kaya pag ni-report yan sa financial position, ito mangyayari. 1 million yung CL mo, ito yun. Tapos, 4 million yung NCL, ito yung apat na to. Kasi anong titinignan natin yung balance sheet date. So, after 12 months after the balance sheet date, recorded as non-current liability. Kaya pag inirecord mo pa rin naman as of December 31, 2021, ang total liabilities mo pa rin ay 5 million. So, kaya lang may CL ka na 1 million and yung 4 million dun ay NCL. So, CL na to, current portion of long-term debt. Long-term siya, but since babayaran mo siya within 1 year after the balance sheet date. So, ika-classify mo na rin siya as current liability. Okay na tayo sa current portion of long-term debt. So, yung sunod naman nating i-discuss under ng NCL, mortgage payable and bonds payable. So, ito ma-encounter nyo na to sa intermediate accounting. So, yung last two sa liabilities natin ay mortgage payable and bonds payable. So, mortgage payable records long-term debt of the business entity has pledged certain assets as security to the creditor. So, in the event that the debt payments are not made, the creditor can foreclose or cause the mortgage asset to be sold to enable the entity to settle the claim. So, pag sinabi natin mortgage payable, kapag yung nangutang, let's say tayo, yung entity, nag-pledge tayo ng asset. So, let's say kunyari, sige, ito yung titulo ng lupa ko. So, meron tayong pinledge na asset. So, kapag hindi kasi tayo nakabayad, so ifo-foreclose yun nung inutangan natin. So, nung lender. So, anong gagawin ni lender kapag hindi tayo makabayad? So, pwede niyang i-foreclose or kaya pwede niyang ibenta. So, para ma-settle natin yung liability natin. So, ang tawag doon ay mortgage payable. Pag bonds payable naman, bonds payable are recorded when a company issues bonds. Ano naman yung bond? So, bond is a contract between the issuer and the lender specifying the terms of repayment and the interest to be charged. So, ito may contract to. Yung bonds, ano lang yan, piece of paper lang yan. So, contract yun between dun sa issuer tayo, let's say yung company tayo yung nangutang, and sa lender kung kailan natin siya babayaran and pati yung interest na i-charge sa atin or yung babayaran nating interest. So, yan ay bonds payable. So, usually yan yung mga long-term liabilities. So, madidiscuss nyo yan sa intermediate accounting. So, wala kayong makikita sa financial accounting and reporting na mortgage payable and bonds payable. So, yan. Okay na din tayo sa mortgage payable and bonds payable. So, ito yung mga liabilities under na CL, accounts payable, notes payable, accrued expenses, unearned revenues, current portion of long-term debt. While sa NCL, mortgage payable and bonds payable. Yung last na i-discuss natin ay owner's equity. So, tandaan, ang owner's equity, 4 yung pumapasok sa kanya: capital, withdrawals, income, and expenses. Okay, isa-isahin natin yung 4 na pumapasok sa owner's equity. So, unahin natin yung capital. So, pag sinabi natin capital, capital is used to record the original and additional investments of the owner of the business entity. So, huwag kakalimutan, pag sinabi nating capital, ito yung original and additional investments ng owner. So, sabi din, it is increased by the amount of profit earned during the year or is decreased by a loss. So, pag may profit, so, nag-i-increase yung capital. So, pag merong loss, nababawasan naman yung capital. So, cash or other assets that the owner may withdraw from the business ultimately reduce it. Ito yung withdrawals. Okay? So, kapag naman may withdrawals or drawings, so, nababawasan naman yung capital. So, makikita nyo yan kung ano yung name o yung surname nung owner. So, yun yung ginagamit natin na account title. Let's say, so ang owner ay ako, so Cipriano, capital. Pwede rin namang buo, Jacqueline Cipriano, comma, and capital. Okay? So, since tayo ay sole proprietorship, isa lang yung capital natin. Capital account. Pero pag partnership na yan, kung ilang yung partners, ganun karami yung capital. So, ito yung mga example transactions na makikita ninyo. So, sa capital. So, let's say, Cipriano deposited 100,000 in a bank account in the name of the business. So, nag-deposit si Cipriano, ako, yung owner, ng 100,000 in the name of the business. So, ibig sabihin, yan yung investment ng owner. So, itong 100,000 na to, inire-record siya as capital. Okay? And yung pangalawa, the owner withdrew from a personal savings account and used it to open new account in the name of the business, 200,000. So ito may namamali din dito kasi nakakita agad ng withdraw. So akala ay withdrawals. But yung withdrawals dyan from personal savings account. So sa personal account niya, nag-withdraw siya. So ang inire-record natin is sa point of view ng entity. 'Di ba? So hindi sa point of view ba ng entity nabawasan yung cash niya? Hindi kasi hindi naman siya nag-withdraw. Ang nag-withdraw is yung owner. So para mag-open ng new account sa business. So ayun yung 200,000. So iyan din yung investment ibig sabihin ng owner sa business. So yung 200,000 na yan, iyan ay ire-record as capital. Pero class, hindi lahat ng capital na inire-record lang natin ay cash. So, 'di ba sabi natin ang capital, original and additional investment of the owner. So, pwede rin kasi mag-invest yung owner ng non-cash assets. So, like equipment, machinery, supplies. So, kapag ganon, basta investment ng owner, recorded siya as capital. Katulad nito. So, the owner invested in the business the following: equipment at 120,000, machinery at 150,000, and cash of 200,000. So, yan yung investment niya dun sa business. Meron siyang ininvest na 120,000 na equipment, yung machinery niya na 150,000, and yung cash na 200,000. O, pag nakita yung ganyan transaction, hinimatay na agad, no? So, ang haba at ang daming ininvest niya. So kapag ganyan, yung iba akala yung cash lang yung inire-record. But ito kasing equipment and machinery, kasama sa investment niya yan. So kaya pag ine-record mo yung capital, magkano yung ire-record mo na capital? 120,000, 150,000, and 200,000. So magkano yung total? 470,000. So ang capital na ire-record mo dyan ay 470,000. Okay? So, ang pinag-uusapan natin, capital ha. So, pagdating sa journal entries na, yan, makikita nyo na kung ano yung mga accounts na affected. But ngayon, yung capital muna. So, magkano yung capital na ire-record natin? 470. 200 plus 150 plus 170,000. Yung iba kasi nire-record pa siya isa-isa. So, equipment, tapos capital, machinery, tapos capital, tapos cash, and then capital. So, but sa atin, compound entry na yan, isang transaction, isang entry na lang. So, equipment, machinery, cash, and then capital. So, nakatotal yung capital kasi lahat niyan ay investment ng owner. Basta tandaan nyo lang class, additional or original investment na galing kay owner, recorded as capital. Yung pangalawang account na pumapasok sa owner's equity natin ay withdrawals. So, when the owner of a business entity withdraws, cash or other assets such are recorded in the drawing or withdrawal account rather than reducing the owner's equity account. Katulad ng sa capital, so nakalagay dyan yung surname or name ng owner. Cipriano withdrawals or kaya Cipriano drawings or kaya Cipriano personal. Dito yata yung madalang na magkamali yung estudyante pag nakakita ng transaction na withdrawals. So kasi nakalagay lang doon, the owner withdraw 100,000 in cash for personal use. So may makita na withdraw, so ibig sabihin yun ay withdrawals. So ang withdrawal ay deduction sa owner's equity. So nababawasan ang owner's equity natin kapag nagkakaroon ng withdrawals. Yung pangatlo na pumapasok sa owner's equity ay income. So, may dalawa tayong klase ng income, service income or service revenue and sales. So, pag sinabi natin service income, revenues earned by performing services for a client or customer. So, pag nag-render ka na service, inire-record natin as service income or service revenue. While ang sales, revenues earned as a result of sale of merchandise. So kapag merchandising or manufacturing at nakabenta ka ng merchandise or ng goods, ang inire-record natin or ang ginagamit natin na account ay sales. Okay, so dito sa atin, sa service, makakakita ka ng ganitong transaction. The company rendered services on account, 150,000. So, pag nag-render ka ng service, so automatic ang ire-record mo ay service income or service revenue. Okay, so kapag naman merchandising or manufacturing, ito naman yung makikita nyo. The entity sold merchandise, 300,000. So nakabenta ka daw ng goods or ng merchandise, so inire-record naman natin yan as sales. So dito ang madidiscuss muna natin ay service income or service revenue. Pagdating natin sa merchandising, so ang gagamitin na natin ay sales. And yung last na pumapasok sa owner's equity natin ay expenses. So yung expenses, deduction sa owner's equity. So ano yung mga expenses? Cost of sales, ito yung cost incurred to purchase or to produce the product sold to customers during the period. So also called cost of goods sold. Yung cost of sales or cost of goods sold, let's say yung sardinas natin, binili natin 'di ba sa palengke ng 10 piso, tapos ibenta natin ng 12 pesos. So pag naibenta natin yon yung sardinas, so ang tawag dun sa 10 pesos ay cost of goods sold or cost of sales. So basta naibenta na, ang tawag ay cost of goods sold. Pero pag hindi pa naibenta yung sardinas na yun, yung 10 piso na yun, nasaan yun? Nasa inventory pa. So once na naibenta na siya, napupunta na siya sa cost of goods sold. So kasama siya sa expense. Next, salaries or wages expense. So includes all payments as a result of an employer-employee relationship such as salaries or wages, 13-month pay, cost of living allowances, and other related benefits. So madali lang naman din makita itong mga expenses kasi nakalagay naman doon sa transaction. So let's say paid salaries 100,000. So ibig sabihin ayun ay salaries expense. Okay. Next, utilities expense. Expenses related to use of telecommunications facilities, consumption of electricity, fuel, and water. So, ang tawag dyan ay utilities expense. Minsan, ay hiwala yung telecommunication expense or kaya electricity expense or kaya fuel and water expense. So, kapag ganon, titingnan nyo na lang kung ano yung given na account titles or kung ano yung mga gagamitin or pwede natin gamitin na account titles. So, lagi namang given yan kasi kung hindi, magkakagulo-gulo tayo. Pwede kasing gamitin ko ay let's say utilities expense ang gamitin ko tapos ikaw ang gamitin mo ay electricity expense. So kaya given lagi yung mga account titles na gagamitin natin. Next is rent expense. So of course expense for space, equipment, and other asset rentals. Ito pa yung mga expenses. So usually ito makikita nyo na to sa adjusting entries. So, supplies expense of using supplies in the conduct of daily business. So, magiging expense yung supplies once na nagamit. Next, insurance expense, portion of premiums paid on insurance coverage which has expired. Diba yung prepaid insurance, mayroon tayong prepaid insurance. So, once na nag-expire na yon, so napupunta na siya sa insurance expense. Depreciation expense, portion of the cost of a tangible asset allocated or charged as expense during an accounting period. So, yung property, plant, and equipment, diba, subject for depreciation except for land. So, yung decrease in value nung PPE natin ay nire-record natin as depreciation expense. Next, uncollectible accounts expense. So, the amount of receivables estimated to be doubtful of collection and charged as expense during an accounting period. So, kapag meron ka receivables, tapos sabi mo, teka, parang hindi ko na to makukolekta. So, ang tawag dyan ay uncollectible accounts expense. And yung last dito sa book natin, interest expense and expense related to use of borrowed funds. So, kapag nangutang ka, so di ba meron kang babayaran na interest, so ang tawag doon ay interest expense. But yan lang yung nasa libro natin but marami pang mga expenses na pwede nyo ma-encounter. So, given naman yung mga account titles, so tingnan nyo na lang. So, madali naman siyang i-analyze So, di ba kapag kunyari, wala sa asset, wala sa liabilities, sa equity naman, hindi siya capital, hindi siya withdrawal, so hindi siya income, so malamang siya ay expense. So ito yung first step na natin, 'di ba, sa pagdating sa journal entries. So dapat alam mo muna yung mga account titles. So kaya dapat memorize. So naiintindihan kung ano yung mga account titles natin para pagdating sa recording na ng transaction, so madali nang mag-record. So madali nang mag-analyze.